Now, a couple questions I might ask myself is, think self-help. Do I read books? Do I follow the right people on social media versus just watching cat videos so I can actually get expired when I'm scrolling? Am I listening to any podcasts, maybe like this one or ones way bigger than mine, of course? Are you going to conferences? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And when you do surround yourself with those people, what kind of conversations are you having? Welcome to the Doug Edrington podcast, and today I've got a good one for you. I want you to take your real estate hat off and put your CEO hat on, because it is time right now, whatever time of the year you're listening to, it is so important that we audit our business like a CEO. Now, I had the opportunity about a year ago to work with a great company called T360. Tom Ferry hooked us up with them, and I had the opportunity to be audited ourselves. They took us through a whole business plan, broke our business down to pieces. And I took away some of the, I'm going to call it the top 10 questions that I think are super applicable to agents in this industry, on a team, solo agent, however you look at it. But I want to go over the top 10 things that you should audit yourself on. So if you have the ability to pull out a pen and paper, I would write these 10 things down, and underneath it, I'd write out the numbers 1 through 10, because my goal here is for you to circle, where do you land of where, we've all taken the surveys. 1, extremely dissatisfied with yourself of where you're at on this topic, all the way up to 10, extremely satisfied. You might even put an NA at the end of it. And so before I dive into these top 10, what I want you to think about is, if you had a company that you hired to come in and audit your business let's go to the extreme for a second, for the purpose of selling your business. This is a great filter to think through all the time. Am I running my business for it to be sold? Not that you would sell it, but wouldn't you like to have the option that someone would come buy your business? And so that's the filter I want you to think through here of why you're doing this. So let's dive right in. So the number one thing here, or not the number one thing, but number one on my list is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rank yourself on your daily or weekly lead generation rituals? How do you rank yourself on your daily or weekly lead generation rituals? So to break this down a little bit more, what are the non-negotiable activities that you need to be doing daily or weekly, and how are you doing on that? Again, scale of 1 to 10. Whether it be open houses, door knocking, maybe you're paying for leads, maybe it's networking for you, but I want to challenge you to think through, what are the daily and weekly lead generation rituals that you do, and rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Once you do that, don't think about it anymore. Let's go to the next topic, because at the end, we're going to wrap up an exercise that's going to make a lot of sense for you. Number 2, am I a master of scripts? Am I a master of scripts? Now, if you need some creativity to think through if you are or not, I would challenge you on a couple things. How do you handle inbound calls, and do you have a script for it? And if you have different inbound sources that come differently, like for example, maybe you're working with Google Local Services where those people have already read your reviews and they're actually asking about a real estate agent, that's one inbound call compared to a sign call where they just are interested in maybe getting the door opened or getting information, or compared to Zillow or Realtor.com or Homes.com or whatever lead source you have. Those are all inbound scripts that are important. On the flip side, you have your outbound scripts. What is my nurturing script like? For people that have gone cold, or they said, I'm not going to do anything for a year or so out. What is the script for calling sellers to generate listing opportunities? Do you have the ability to convert a buyer into a seller when you recognize that that's the case? All of these things have scripts. I could even go as far as your presentation, all the way down to, how do you ask for a review? There's a good way to do it, there's a better way to do it, and there's always a best way to do it that we can come up with at the time. So rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Am I a master of my scripts? Number 3, how do I rank myself on continually cultivating a growth mindset? I think this one's so important. Have you ever found yourself just in the dumps and just everything's negative and it's everybody's fault and everybody's against you? You're probably going to need to put a 0 on that one. Did we say 0? I think we started at 1. Maybe you should add a 0 to that column. But then how do you get to a 10, right? So you got to rank yourself, where are you at on on continually cultivating a growth mindset. Now, a couple questions I might ask myself is, think self-help. Do I read books? Do I follow the right people on social media versus just watching cat videos so I can actually get expired when I'm scrolling? Am I listening to any podcasts, maybe like this one or ones way bigger than mine, of course? Are you going to conferences? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And when you do surround yourself with those people, what kind of conversations are you having? Are they positive, open-minded conversations, or is it full of negativity and the world is falling? The sky is falling, right? And so rank yourself on how you rank yourself on, are you continually cultivating a growth mindset? Scale of 1 to 10. Next one, number 4. How well do I focus on the client experience? I don't know about you, but I know a lot of really successful agents that are turn and burn. They do great with the customer, and as soon as they close, the client never hears from them again. Or maybe they're really good at getting things under contract, and you're really busy and you got a lot of deals, and you constantly find your clients calling you asking for updates versus you giving them updates. Focusing on the client experience. How well do you do? Scale of 1 to 10, rank yourself where you're at there. Number 5, if I were to Google myself, how do I feel about my online and digital presence? So I did an exercise with my team the other day, and I said, whoever you're sitting next to, Google your buddy. And immediately people started laughing. And that means that we're not all at a 10. This is what I take away from that. So ranking yourself on your online and digital presence, you have to think through the filter that every consumer that you want to work with is likely to look you up in some way, shape, or form. Is that on Instagram? Is that on Facebook? Is that on LinkedIn? Is that on TikTok? Whatever your audience is. But then there's also the Google side of it. Too many people have profiles on websites with no bio, no photo, no phone number on how to contact them. Even on Instagram, I see realtors all day long where I'm like, man, I really like their content. I like their stuff. And I don't even know what state they're in because they haven't been very clear on what their profiles look like. Unfortunately, in our world of real estate, it seems like every day there's a new real estate website out there that takes our information and puts it out there, and then we have the option to fill out the bio. If those things are on the first page of the Google search, you probably should lean into it because a consumer might trip across it and then think you don't do any business. So where do you rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 for your online and digital presence? Circle one of those. Number 6. Time management and organization. Are you busy or are you productive? How do you operate on a day-to-day? Is it a to-do list? Is it Monday or Trello or Asana? There's a lot of different things out there. Do you have an assistant that keeps you on track? Do you have a team leader that holds you accountable? Do you have somebody of that nature or something that allows you to be extremely organized and manage your time very well? One of our agents, I'm going through a really good exercise with him, newer with us, coming out swinging really hard, got a couple deals, and he's like, man, I'm prospecting really hard. We decided to start measuring it and realized the past week, it was like, now that he opens his eyes and sees the data, he's like, I could step it up a notch. And so I'm excited for him to make that change. So rank yourself on 1 to 10. Where are you at when it comes to time management and organization? Number 7, market knowledge. Market knowledge. So this one has a lot to do with confidence around the market. And I could say for some people, I know we've hired some agents before where they've moved from another city, been in Chattanooga, Tennessee for 30, 60 days. They start with us. Their market knowledge is very limited. Now, yes, time and experience will help with that, but they could also take it upon themselves and actually study the hot sheet, drive around, get familiar with areas, understand what the schools are like, understand what the culture is like in each location, understand where people want to be. And so I challenge you on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at with your market when it comes to market knowledge? Number 8, we're getting close to the end here. Number 8, can I clearly articulate my unique value proposition? Are you finding yourself in the sea of sameness and you're doing what every other realtor out there is doing? Or is it the perspective that you only do what everyone else does and you know you have a unique value proposition inside that makes you stand out and special? I believe every agent has this. It may not be the same as someone else, and it shouldn't be, because that's why it's called unique. So I want you to actually think about, could I, in an elevator pitch, explain my unique value proposition? And if I can't, then this is going to be something that we're going to work on. So rank yourself, scale of 1 to 10, on can I clearly articulate my unique value proposition? Number 9, I clearly understand and control my expenses along with my revenue. So this one is so important. Again, I'm asking you to think like a CEO. Do you have a P&L? Too many real estate agents take that paycheck when they get paid and put it into their personal account. And at the end of the day, you have no idea really where you're at on your business, because your spouse's income also goes into that. Or you got a side hustle and money's going in there. Or you've got bills going out like crazy, maybe at home personally, and you're beating yourself up saying, hey, my business isn't running really well because I don't have the money, but you just decided to go on a big vacation and buy your kid a car. I don't know what it could be, but do you actually have a real P&L? And do you control and understand your expenses along with your revenue? If you don't know exactly what your monthly nut cost every single month, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. I know exactly how much my company needs to bring in every single month just to cover all expenses, all payroll, all customer appreciation events, the swag, you name it, all the above. Also including taxes is a big one to think about as well. So rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Do you clearly understand and control your expenses along with your revenue? Number 10, last one. My goals are clearly defined and visual. This one's pretty simple. Clearly defined and visual. Now, in a world of that we're in today, where you may not have an office at your office, or you may not have a home office, and maybe this thing right here, this computer, is your office. Is it on literally your screensaver of what your goals are? Are they up in front of you often? And is it clearly defined of what you're trying to accomplish? I will sell this many houses this year. I will list this many homes. You might break it down by lead sources, or you might break it down of number of dials you need to have a day. Whatever your goals are they up, clearly defined, and visual? That's number 10. Now, this list could go on and on and on, but I wanted to give us something that would really make an impact and a change in your career. Now, once you have scored yourself all 10 of these items right here, here's what I would challenge you to do. First off, reward yourself for the ones that you're doing very well at. Like, recognize that and reflect on why you're doing well at that. My bet is you're most interested in it. And the ones that were not performing at the highest level, you probably just don't have an interest, or maybe you're scared to dive into it. So I think it would be best if you review this with that board of directors, that the peers that you have around you that's going to help you get you to the next level. But what I want you to do next out of these 10 is circle maybe the top, just two. Keep this, save it for later, but we're just going to work on maybe 2 things at a time. I could even argue maybe just 1. But let's say for now, circle the 2 that you really want to focus on. And then I would take a new sheet of paper and I would break down, if I accomplish this item, let's say yours was, for example, number 6, time management and organization. Maybe you scored yourself really low in that and you know that one's important. I would write down a pros and con list, and right at the top, time management and organization, I scored myself a 3. And my goal is to get to a 10, of course. And I would start with, what are the things that hurt me by not focusing on this? Like, if I don't focus on this, this is what is likely to happen. And you may say, I'll waste time. My spouse will get on to me when I get home because I didn't bring any money home. You may say I won't be able to pay for bills or send my kid to school or do whatever it is you want to do. I've seen some scary lists like this go all the way down to death. It's like, okay, this will happen, then it leads to this, and it leads to this, and it leads to this, and next thing you know, I'm alone and I'm worried about dying. Like, that's a scary place to be, but I still want you to write it out, what's important to you. Then on the right side of the page, I want you to write down, if I master this skill, how will that change my life? I'll have more time. I'll be organized. I'll get to spend more time with my family. I will earn more money. I will be able to have a predictive business. I'll be able to recognize by following the data what are the clues that are telling me what I should work on. If you break down this if I don't and if I do list, it's going to become very clear and evident on why it becomes important. We need the why behind it's important first. Then second, I would just circle on the why it's important list. Like, again, go through the exercise one more time. Circle 2, maybe 3 things of why it's really important, because that's going to become your why. Then lastly, grab a new piece of paper and I'd figure out, what am I going to execute on? What are the top couple things that I can execute on this one task that I'm determined to improve upon, and what does it need to do? I would highly argue there needs to be a who in there. Who's going to help hold you accountable to make your time management and organization better? But it also could be tech. It could be just using a calendar for some of us that don't operate off of a calendar. But you probably know the answer down deep inside, and if you don't, I would lean on your peers. If you need help, I'd be there for you as well. Reach out to me, shoot me an email, DM me, hit me up however you want, and I'd love to have a conversation to help you out on this. And then once you've accomplished it, I would do it again. A quarter goes by, rake yourself on everything, and start the project over again. And eventually you can get to a place where I bet 8 out of these 10 are going to be on the higher end of the scale versus the lower end of the scale. So I'm challenging you to audit your business like a CEO so you can take it to the next level. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for listening to the Doug Edrington podcast. I always want to provide you massive value. If there's something you want to hear specifically about in future shows, just hit me up and say, hey, I'd really love for you to cover this topic, and I'll be more than happy to do it. Catch you next time.